A lot of people in today's world have a hard time believing in Christianity because there are seemingly too many facts that disprove it. Most of the people who fall into this category have a mainstream view of the world. That is, most of what they believe because it's the most commonly accepted theory in a given topic and is therefore accepted by society in a given generation or time period to be a fact. If you're a strong believer in facts, and you run your beliefs based on what seems most logical, then no doubt you believe in the power of evidence. The more evidence there is for something, the more likely it is to be true. That is becoming more and more the way the world is run. Although any scientist knows that no matter how much evidence there is obtained for certain things, there's still theories. What it comes down to is probability, the p-value. That is what's used in virtually all scientific experiments, and it's used to determine statistical significance of observed and recorded data. Even carbon dating is heavily reliant on the strength of probabilities. With that being said, allow me to walk you through what Dr. Robert Newman did in 1967 as an astrophysicist at Cornell University. Many others have done similar calculations that always yield the same shocking results. The writings of the Old Testament that range over thousands of years, from the time of Moses to the captivity of Israel around the year 400 BC. Written in those scriptures, there were hundreds of prophecies concerning the Messiah that was to come at an unknown time in the future. A prophecy is a message revealed to a prophet from God that tells of an event that has not happened yet. From a non-Christian standpoint, the prophecies in the Bible were written and thought up by men. All of this is true from a historical standpoint. There were over 300 prophecies that were written about the coming Messiah in the Old Testament, some of which could have only been fulfilled before he was born, such as being a descendant of David or being born in a small town of Bethlehem, and some which could have easily been prevented by men if there was no divine power at play, such as no bones being broken in his body. The interesting part about that one is that the way that Romans could tell if a man was dead after crucifixion was to break one of their legs to see if the body would react or remain limp. Instead, they pierced him with a spear, which in turn fulfilled yet another prophecy that was written. In the end, everything that was said that would happen to the Messiah 400 years earlier happened to Jesus. That's over 10 generations of the world that had gone by since the prophets wrote those things. The authors were long gone. Of all those prophecies, Dr. Robert Newman took only 8 of them, and calculated the odds of one man fulfilling them by chance individually. Christ to be born in Bethlehem, Micah 5:2. The chance of being born in Bethlehem during the time of Jesus, 1 in 280,000. Forerunner of Christ, Malachi 3:1. The chance a man would have a forerunner, 1 in 1,000. Christ enters Jerusalem riding on a donkey, Zechariah 9:9. The chance a man would enter Jerusalem riding on a donkey, 1 in 100. Christ to be betrayed by a friend, Psalm 41:9. The chance a man would be betrayed by a friend, 1 in 1,000. Christ to be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, Zechariah 11:12. The chance if a man was betrayed, it was for 30 pieces of silver, 1 in 1,000. 30 pieces of silver casted down and used to buy a potter's field, Zechariah 11:13. The chance a man would buy a potter's field for 30 pieces of silver, 1 in 100,000. Although innocent, Christ kept silent while on trial, Isaiah 53:7. The chance an innocent man would keep silent if on trial to be put to death, 1 in 1,000. Christ crucified, Psalm 22:16. The chance a man would be crucified, 1 in 10,000. Now, the chance that these 8 events could happen concerning one man, 1 in 10 to the 28th power. That's right, that's a 10 with 27 zeros behind it. Now these odds are far greater than we can comprehend, so allow me to put it into perspective. Imagine you had a tape measure that stretched around the entire Earth along the equator, and it measured in millimeters. Out of this entire tape measure that's spanning around the Earth, there is only one that will allow you to move on to the next stage. You get one pick. I had to break this up into 2 stages because most people can't visualize the distance with accuracy much longer than the circumference of the Earth or much shorter than a millimeter. On to the second part. Then someone divides that millimeter into 249 quadrillion, 531 trillion, 130 billion, 486 million, 791,000 pieces. Only one piece is the winning piece. The chance that you would pick both of those correctly on your first try is the same chance that Jesus would have fulfilled those 8 prophecies, which he did according to science, history, and the Bible. And that probability only includes 8 of the 300 plus prophecies that were fulfilled through him. If you choose not to believe in God because of facts, you're probably choosing which facts to believe based on what you've gathered from the surface. Unfortunately, though, not everyone will believe. But as a follower of Christ, I'm called to lead as many people to this life as will come. We live in an increasingly corrupt world. If you know anyone who is struggling to find faith, has no faith, or even someone who has faith who may know someone struggling, share this video with them. God bless you all.